scheduled. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is B-Sides Orlando Career Village pre show. I'm here with co host Null, who is also the Career Village organizer.
Hello,
Uh,
everyone.
yeah, so we're working together to put on the Career Village and the pre show for you in the hopes that this all helps you in your job hunt and preparing for a career. And if you're already in your career, that some of the content will help you as you're progressing through your career journey. Noel, why don't you tell them what they can expect when they come to B-Sides Orlando on September 27th?
Well, at B-Sides of Orlando, we have at the Career Village, we're going to have resume reviews, and we're also going to help with interview preparations. We're going to have volunteers that are ready to take a look at your resume and give you professional pointers and help you, adjust it and really hone it in for the job that you're looking for. And then we'll also have people that will help you hone your interview skills. So we look forward to seeing you all there.
That's excellent. Yeah, so we will also have space for if you're looking for hiring someone. We have space for doing in-person interviews for a quick introduction with some of our attendees. We'll have a place to put business cards, so if you have got like referral cards or anything like that, you can drop them off. We will also, if you're coming in for a resume review, we do have a printer on site so that you can get your resume printed out for the resume review, because that would be helpful to have a resume on hand. What else? What else do we have? A job board. So we have a job board. If you have jobs, feel free to send in jobs that you're hiring for to careervillage at bsidesorlando.com. Can we get that email put up on the screen? Maybe. Okay, so we've got the Career Village email. If anybody wants to send us jobs, we will post those up on our job board. We also have a talk at our Career Village. So building your digital portfolio by Yesenia. So it'll be a great talk. Definitely good to build up your brand and your personalization for employers who are looking to hire. How are things going on the backs in the green room? Is our speaker ready yet?
Hey.
Hey, all right. I'm glad to see you, Levi. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a day.
I know.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So you're going to be presenting on common misconceptions in cybersecurity and how to stand out. Levi is a wonderful person. He is one of our volunteers here at B-Sides Orlando. He runs the registration department and does wonderful things for us there. And he's a prolific CTF player and just a really kind person overall. So we're looking forward to your talk. You ready to get started?
Thank you. Sure.
All right.
Can everyone see the main slide?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So yeah, hi everyone. Why am I doing this talk? Who am I? I'm Levi. I go by Doulos online. As someone who has been through this journey myself recently, within the last year, and someone who talks with a lot of people who are trying to get into cybersecurity, I've heard a lot and I've met a lot of people and I've been asked a lot of questions and I've asked those questions myself. And not that I'm an expert in any way in this, but I do have a lot of people who are experts and who have just years and years of experience on their end who I've been communicating with and trying to get this information. So I know that on LinkedIn, I see so much misinformation. I've heard so many people on Discord and through other places who they ask the same questions over and over again. They have the same misconceptions, if you will, over and over again. So I just thought that I'd be able to hopefully help clear that up a little bit for some people and maybe help you find your first job or transition into cybersecurity, or maybe even find out that cybersecurity is not for you. because it's not for everybody. I don't want to discourage anybody. That's definitely not my prerogative, but maybe it will help you open your eyes to this isn't what I thought it was. So I do apologize. I'm not great at PowerPoint, so my slides are not the best, but hopefully it works for you. This is the overall how the talk's going to go. What is cybersecurity? What are some common misconceptions? How can you stand out? And then we'll end it with Q&A. To start, what is cybersecurity? This top definition is from CISA. It is cybersecurity is the art of protecting networks, devices, and data from unauthorized access or criminal use and practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information, the CIA triad. Uh, Cybersecurity is really more than just protecting technology. It's not just stopping hackers, it's protecting people, protecting organizations, protecting society even. Um, Many times we hear cybersecurity and we think internet, computers, tools, hackers. Cybersecurity is teaching people not to fall for common scams, to not just accept what someone says. Social engineering is actually a huge aspect of cybersecurity, or phishing as most people know it. And cybersecurity is helping raise awareness and train people to see the common threats that aren't always technical. So cybersecurity has a lot more to it than most people understand. Um, Here is a non-exhaustive list of different things within cybersecurity. People use different titles, different definitions, different categories. The language that I'm using here may be completely different than what you'd find in a different organization. Even in our organization, we won't use the same terminology necessarily. This is just a general overview. So you have what people call the blue team, or the defensive side of things. These are the people who are protecting systems. They're going through logs. They're looking at detection. They're responding to incidents. You have your red team, or your offensive people, who they're trying to simulate an attacker, or they're testing for vulnerabilities. They're looking for ways to get past the current security stack so that they can hopefully help fill those holes in the future. You have GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. These are the people who deal with the policies, the standards, who make sure that the organization is following what's set in place. You have identity, access, and architecture. These are the people who design and manage the infrastructure, the access controls. They're responsible for your different accounts, making sure the guy who just started in HR doesn't have full access to a server for the IT guys. Um, and then you have your researchers. You have people who are creating the tools, who are looking into different threat actors, looking into different opportunities, ways to get into things. These are the people who are putting out those white papers or doing those talks that you see. A recent a recent example is the HTTP1 issue, that there were 25, 30 million sites that were affected by an HTTP1 flaw, and it's been known about, but a researcher created this paper, put it out there, and now companies are being able to secure themselves for that. And then you have your awareness and training people. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, even, is just helping people understand what cybersecurity is, how to actively and thoroughly secure themselves, protect themselves from phishing, from downloading viruses, from doing any number of things. And then you have leadership, obviously, the ones who are running the whole thing, the security minded folks who are looking at the big picture, who are making sure that the different programs are there, the different roles are being fulfilled. It goes at various levels. So again, this is not an exhaustive list. This is admittedly ChatGPT helping me summarize what I had already had. So I did use it. ChatGPT did not do this talk, but I did use the tool to help me process my thoughts and get them on the screen for you. So what does the blue team compromise, or what does the blue team have in it? What types of positions are there? If you're someone who just really wants to defend the company, defend the network, to defend a computer, to help people, the blue team, or the defensive side, really is probably more your thing. You have your SOC analysts. This is often your first place to get into cybersecurity. Um, One thing I do want to preface with, titles more or less mean nothing within cybersecurity. Every organization has a different definition for what a title is. This is an attempt at categorizing jobs, but a SOC analyst in one company may be completely different than a SOC analyst in another company. If you're working for an MSSP, a managed service or security service provider, your job is going to be completely different than if you're at an organization that has 25 people in it and you're the SOC analyst or the security guy for that team. They may use the same terminology for both, but they're completely different positions. And this is one of your entry level roles generally. They monitor alerts, they triage activity, they read logs. A lot of it's looking at logs, seeing what's already happened, and trying to either get the right people involved or analyze what's going on. You have your incident responders, which many times SOC analysts will do incident response as well, but they handle breaches, they contain issues. If there's malware running through the environment, they're going to be the ones who are determining what caused that, getting rid of it, and trying to clean up afterwards. You have your threat hunters who they're looking for proactive ways to find threats within the network. They're not going out and attacking, they're not trying to cause issues or find holes, but they're looking for things that are already happening within the network. And this is a really needed position for a lot of places, I think. So hopefully we see more people getting into threat hunting. I know ET, who was just here, loves threat hunting. So yeah, there's the Death conference that's coming up soon. That's all about threat hunting. You have digital forensics. Um, these are the people who go in afterwards and try and find what happened. They're looking for the root cause. They're looking for evidence. If this issue ends up going to court, your forensics person is going to be the one who is creating or finding that evidence. They're not creating the evidence. They're collecting the evidence and providing it in a way that they can present this to a court or whatever they need for that case or for that matter. Um, Unfortunately, a lot of forensics work, if it's for law, ends up being for unsavory things. So forensics is something that if that's what your passion is, definitely pursue it. But be aware that if you're going into work with a police station or the FBI or something, you're going to be looking at stuff that they need somebody to provide evidence for. Um, and then you have your malware analysts, sorry, and your reverse engineers. They're taking malware samples, they're trying to break them apart, figure out who made this, how they made this, how it works. Um, they really go into depth with trying to reverse engineer and actually see from a code level what's going on. If you do CTFs, you're going to see stuff like this a lot in a CTF, capture the flag. It's a game, if you will, for cybersecurity folks. But you'll see a lot of reverse engineering type of challenges within a CTF. And then you have your offensive side. Red teaming is what a lot of people call it. A lot of people who are looking to get into cybersecurity, they instantly want to go to red team. If you look at the slide, you'll notice that none of these say entry level. Cybersecurity as a whole is not an entry level field, but red teaming is not entry level for cybersecurity. I just want to put that out there. A lot of people want to go be pen testers, penetration testers. They want to do the hacking, the attacking, the pwning. That's not an entry level field. Yes, you can get into it from this bat. You can start there, but it's going to be a lot harder than getting other experience and then transitioning into that. But so you have your penetration testers. These are the ones who simulate the attacks. They're hacking into the system to try and find the holes so the defenders can patch the holes and fix those issues. A lot of times these people will focus on a specific type of penetration testing. They'll be doing web apps or they'll be your network pen tester. But you also have your broad, we pen test everything folks. So if you're passionate about trying to break into web apps, websites, you can pursue that. If you're really passionate about breaking Active Directory, you can pursue that. You can specialize. You don't have to go into a broad field. You don't have to be a jack of all trades. Specialization is actually a great way to get into one of these fields. You have your red team operator. That really changes a lot from company to company, but overall they do adversary simulation, emulation. They are a more consistent in-house team that pursues different attack types to try and, for example, if you're in the financial sector, they'll be looking what are threat actors who attack financial sector doing. Let's see if we can simulate that to see how successful that would be within our network. This is a hard one because there are so many different ways red teams operate, but this is a general overview. You have your exploit developers. These are the guys who are finding the vulnerabilities and then they're writing the code to perform these attacks. They're building the exploits. They're putting out the proofs of concept that a lot of the pen testers are going to be using to try and test different networks. And then you have the vulnerability researchers. These are the people who are looking at a program, looking at code, and they're trying to find the vulnerabilities that can be exploited. Um, this says fuzzing, reverse engineering. It's just using different techniques and tactics to look for bugs within code or within a program that provide an opportunity for an attacker. You have your governance, risk, and compliance, your GRC folks. This is a far less technical side of cybersecurity. A lot of people think you have to be really technical, you have to be a great hacker. You don't. This is just as important, or in many ways even more important than a lot of the technical aspects, because this is making sure you're aligning with these legal frameworks, you're aligning with these technical frameworks from the government or whatever compliance you have. If you're dealing with health information, you have HIPAA. If you're dealing with payment processing, you have PCI. You have anyone that does work with anyone in Europe has to make sure they comply with GDPR, which is the European privacy policy. GRC are the people who make sure that you're being compliant. They're also analyzing risk. They're looking at the standards. They're writing the policies. They're enforcing the policies. A lot of this is more documentation than technical related. And for someone who's looking to get into cybersecurity and may not have years of technical experience, this is an opportunity. It's an option. And I know people who absolutely love the governance side and that's what they want to do. And that's a great thing. We need more people who are passionate about this, because this really does make sure the entire company follows suit and stays aligned with what they need to be aligned with. And then also, this is where audits come in. You have your auditors. A lot of auditors will skill-wise coincide with your technical, your red team, your pen testers. But then you also have the policy and different governance audits. So that's another opportunity within the GRC realm. You have your identity access. This is, so you have your people who are dealing with the different ways to authenticate into your network, your user accounts, your permissions, your policies for these accounts. You have your engineers. These are the folks who are building out the security. They're configuring the different tools, the different protections. You have your network engineers, your cloud engineers, your DevSecOps engineers. You have different people who are integrating security at all levels. Traditionally, this is where a lot of people saw or would consider cybersecurity now, are the folks who, when I first started back in the early 2000s, configuring firewalls was one of the big or main ways to get into cybersecurity. There are so many options now in the last 20 years, but when I first started, all I knew was go the Cisco route, get your CCNA, get your CCNA security, and learn how to secure Cisco products. Thankfully, that's not the way you have to get in now. If that's something you like, absolutely pursue that. That's great. And I'm grateful for everyone who does love that, because we need those people. I mean, it's very important. But also you have your DevSecOps. You have the people who are making sure the code is clean and secure before it ever goes public. Before it's ever pushed to production, they're trying to make sure that you have things in place to ensure proper safety and security standards with your apps. And then you have your research and advanced positions. None of these are entry level. This is more mid and senior level career moves. So I'm not going to go into this a whole lot, but you have your cryptographers, your cryptanalysts. These are the ones who are working with encryption, learning to break or trying to break the encryption or build the encryption. You have your researchers. They're looking at what's going on in the wild, They're trying to find new ways to do these things. Um, and then you have your specialists with OT/ICS. That's something that is very different than an IT setting and system. And these are the folks who they're specializing in something. They're not trying to be a broad person, not trying to be a jack of all trades. They're taking something and they're going in depth, and they are that subject matter expert. And then you have your awareness and training. This is honestly an area that I think as a whole, this field really needs to put more effort into. We're great into training other people to become cybersecurity experts, but a lot of times we're not the best at training end users and how to protect themselves. We have phishing simulations, we provide trainings, but uh, a lot of companies they don't actually make sure that's being followed. Um, these are the people who go in and they sit with an end user and they put on or they give their explanation and then they make sure the end user actually knows what they're doing. Hey, don't write your password on a post-it note and stick it to your monitor. Or if you see someone suspicious, let somebody know. Don't just trust that somebody is who they say they are. Um, these are the people who say, don't click on random links in your emails. This is a very important thing. We need more of that. Same with the cybersecurity advocate. It's finding a way to make the average person understand cybersecurity, understand the needs, the risks, and how they can act as an advocate to stop these things. Um, and then change management. You have the people who, hey, we're switching to this new system. They're helping to adopt that. They're helping to make sure people are learning how to use the new tools or new systems and following through with that. And then you have your leadership and your strategy. This is senior level usually, or executive level. They're the ones who are driving the strategy for the company. They're the ones who are leading the teams, managing the budgets. I hope a lot of these people are technical. They're not always technical, but it's not a technical position. This is a people position. So yeah, cybersecurity is way more than just hacking or stopping hackers. There are very technical positions and there are very non-technical positions. There's a wide range. What I gave is not an exhaustive list. There's a lot that I left out of my list. There's a lot that could be done, and people will disagree with what I said. They'll disagree with what I chose. That's okay. Cybersecurity is a very broad field again, and if there's anything to take away, I just want you to take away the fact that you're not set into a specific path if you want to get into cybersecurity. There's a lot that you can do, and there are a lot of ways that you can get into that. So let's go into some common misconceptions. For some context, I'm a moderator on a Discord server, a cybersecurity Discord server that has about 210,000 users. We get a lot of questions from people who are trying to get into cybersecurity. We do Q&As where people just come on voice and ask questions when they're trying to get into the field. I've had questions from people who are transitioning from one field to another into cybersecurity. I have questions from high schoolers and college students who are wanting to know, hey, how do I get a job in cybersecurity? I asked a lot of the people that I know and respect in the field for their input as well. So a lot of what you're seeing comes from others who have decades in the field who are at management levels and also people who have just started their careers, the hurt and the hardship that they found when they were getting to the field. So a lot of these misconceptions come from a bunch of different places. Hopefully this will help clear up some of it. And everything I say, there will probably be someone who disagrees with me. That's okay. We don't all have to agree. I just hope that I can help someone with this. So the first one, there are millions of open positions. I think the statistic was there are 3.5 million open cybersecurity positions worldwide. That's not in America, that's worldwide. In America in 2024 and 25, I believe there were roughly 500,000 new positions opened up. With that, they say that they're 74% filled, meaning there are 26% of those jobs that need people and there's not people to fill those roles. So yeah, there are hundreds of thousands of jobs out there. But the caveat to this is almost all of those are mid and expert level or senior level positions. Very few of those positions are entry level. The statistic from CyberSeek, I believe, was for entry level positions, there's a 12% surplus, meaning there are too many people trying to take the entry level positions, and there's a 24% deficit for the mid and for senior level positions. So there's a lot of need in the mid and senior levels. There's a surplus in the entry level workers. So if you're trying to get into the field, yes, there are a lot of jobs, but be aware that many of those jobs, if not most of those jobs, are not entry level positions. They're not for people who are just starting out in their career. Those positions are for people who have experience and they're looking to advance in their careers. And this misconception, the field is saturated. So yes, one says there's millions of jobs, the other says there are no jobs. As someone who was looking for work in the past year, it was very hard. I struggled. I would apply for a job and there'd be 1,000, 2,000 people applying for the same position as I was. Yes, the field is saturated, but there's also, again, there are hundreds of thousands of jobs in America alone where they're looking for experienced workers. Just because there's a surplus of people looking for entry level positions does not mean you can't get one of those positions. Just be aware that when you hear those statistics, there is a nuance to that, there is context to that, and do your research to see where are these job openings? Are they for true entry level positions? I don't think I have a slide for this, but let me check real quick. Sorry. Oh, yes. So sorry. Misconception. Cybersecurity is an entry level field. Cybersecurity is not entry level. The consensus I have from the managers I spoke to, the people who are hiring managers, and many are actively hiring, what I've heard over and over again is cybersecurity is not an entry level field. We don't want somebody coming who has zero work experience, zero IT experience. We need people who have an understanding of the technology that they're trying to secure. And this is from people who are hiring for the engineering side, hiring for the defending side, the incident response side. For the people who are hiring for the offensive side, they're looking for people who have a proven record in performing these attacks and being able to do these things and writing reports and being able to communicate clearly. So cybersecurity is not an entry level field. Many people say that if you want to get into cybersecurity, start in IT, get a foundation there, and then move into cybersecurity. That said, I know people who their first job out of college was a cybersecurity position and they're thriving in their careers. These are generalities that I'm giving. There's always someone who's going to say, well, you're wrong, I did this. It's possible to get into this right out of college, right out of high school. You don't have to have a degree, but the reality is most people are looking for someone who has some experience. Another one, I hear this so often. Oh, I'll make six figures right out of college. It's easy. There's hundreds of thousands of jobs. They pay amazingly and they're easy jobs. That's not true. Majority of cybersecurity workers do not make six figures. They're not making $100,000 a year. You can look at ZipRecruiter. There are a number of websites that have statistics of salary ranges for positions. If you go through a bunch of the cybersecurity positions, you'll see many of them start out $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, and in the top 10%, they're at the $90,000 range. You're making $95,000. That's close, but that's still not $100,000 a year, and that's not an entry-level position. Generally, the people who make six figures plus have years of experience. Yes, it's definitely possible to get to that range, but don't expect to have it right out of the bat. Unfortunately, a lot of the people who say that, they're marketing either their school, their degree, their boot camp, their training. Do my training and you're guaranteed this job. That's not true. Another one that I have had a lot of questions about, and this is a very controversial subject within cybersecurity, is certifications. I personally believe certifications are great. They're a great way to get a foundational knowledge. Or if you're getting specialist certification, it's a great way to show that you have that specialized skill set, but it's not going to get you a job most of the time. That said, HR does require certifications, or they're looking for certifications. I know the Security Plus is the de facto certification that most people are looking for, and they want that because they want to see that you have a foundational knowledge in cybersecurity concepts and terminology. You see a lot of entry-level jobs that ask for the CISSP. That's a 5-year experience requirement to get that certification. Um, so that is partly an issue with HR and the people who are putting that in their job requirements. But at the same time, they're looking for people who are experienced. Um, ISC2 just released a few months ago their 2025 hiring research, and they are basically saying we need more junior and entry level positions to be trained up, and there's a need for people to take in those early positions and train them internally so that we can build out the workforce. Secure or certifications are beneficial. I personally started my career through certifications. I didn't have a degree when I started, and it worked for me. That doesn't mean it'll work for you, but it is a great way to, one, bypass the HR gatekeeping. A lot of HR uses AI or applicant tracking systems, and they're looking for these keywords, and having that certification will get you through that keyword requirement so that you can actually get your resume in front of a person. But don't just expect, oh, I got the Security Plus, now I'm going to get a job. Oh, I got the CEH, the OSCP, the this, the that. Certifications aren't a job guarantee. Early on, certifications were more beneficial because fewer people had them, but it's just the field's changing. So I definitely say pursue certifications, take that, learn the knowledge, prove that you have that, but don't expect to get a job just because you got a certification. This is a fun one. Oh, you must be a hacker to be in cybersecurity. No, you really don't. You don't have to be able to break into a system to be in cybersecurity. As I had mentioned prior, you have people who are have very little technical aptitude, but they understand the policies and yes, exactly, cyber info. You have all of these people who have zero hacking skills, and they've been doing it for years, decades, even. They're very advanced in their careers. That's great. You don't have to have a specific skill set. Cybersecurity is very broad and open. So pursue those things. Do what you are passionate about. Don't try and just follow what you think someone says you have to do. You need to be able to program. I get this question probably more than any other. Oh, what programming language should I learn to be a cybersecurity? You don't need to be able to program. Yes, scripting is very beneficial. Depending on what position you want to pursue, depending on what you want to do in your job, programming can be beneficial or it can be a requirement. Most cybersecurity positions don't require Sorry, my headset died on me. Just a second here, technical difficulties. Can y'all hear me, Edna, Noel, someone? Okay, great. Thanks, Mike. Sorry about that. I just replaced my battery and I guess it wasn't actually full. Yeah, you don't need to be a programmer to be in cybersecurity. It's not necessary. It is beneficial for many positions. Many positions want you to at least understand scripting, Python, Bash, PowerShell. Learn to script, but you don't have to be a C++ aficionado to be in cybersecurity. You can be a programmer. You can be a software developer. That's not necessary for cyber. So yeah, I personally like Python. I just saw that pop up. Python's great. I love Python. So I would recommend that if you are looking for something to get started because you can use it just about anywhere. But okay, misconception, a degree is required. I didn't start my career with a degree. I just got my degree last year. Now it is a little bit more necessary for some positions, but it's not at the same time. A degree, a bachelor's degree shows that you have a foundational understanding, shows that you can accomplish a goal, and it's a lot for networking. A lot of HR requires degrees. one reason a degree is good is because if it's going through the ATS, the AI for your resume, if it doesn't have that degree, a lot of them will just not accept your resume. It'll just block it. So a degree is great for helping you get past the AI so that your resume may go in front of a person. And there's a lot that you can learn and gain from a degree. I am grateful that I got my degree, but it is not a requirement to get into cybersecurity. Um, I would recommend, if it's something you're passionate about and you are inexperienced, go get that foundational knowledge, learn how to learn how to communicate, learn the soft skills. And a lot of cybersecurity requires reporting. It requires documentation. So learn how to write a paper. That's something that a degree is very beneficial for. I personally went to WGU. I'm actually going for my master's right now. So I'm very supportive of that, but don't think that you can't get a job if you don't have a degree. Um, Misconception, it's glamorous. It's hot. It's always full of action. A lot of cybersecurity is reading through logs. It's trying to figure out what's going on, troubleshooting, problem solving. A lot of it's high stress, but it's also not always full on stressful. There's not always something going on. Hollywood has romanticized cybersecurity. It's romanticized hacking or pen testing. Pen testers spend a lot of time writing reports. They spend a lot of time not hands on keyboard, but communicating what they found to a stakeholder who needs that information. Um, your SOC analysts are going to be digging through logs, just trying to find this one artifact so that they can figure out what's going on. It's not always glamorous, but it's not always doom and gloom. There's a lot that society, Mr. Robot, has put out there that causes people to have a misunderstanding of what actually happens in the day to day. Hopefully, somebody will do a talk on what's the day to day like for these different things, but it's not all just hacking or stopping hackers. It's not all saving the world. There's a lot of just day to day getting the job done. Yes, absolutely. It's the report you're paying for. Yeah, misconception. It's nonstop action. It's not. Sometimes you're going to have downtimes. If you're in an instant response, hopefully you don't have a lot going on, because if you do, that means that there's a lot of incidents that you're responding to. Um, you have high stress moments. You also have low stress moments. You have times where you might be working 16 hours that day, and other days where you might put in 4 hours of work. You're on the clock for 8, but the amount of work that you have that day can be low. It's hit or miss depending on your position. If you're in GRC, you're not going to have those 16-hour days of an instant response. Um, it's a normal job. Most people put in their 8 hours a day, and that's that. Don't expect to always be on, if you will. Um, Thankfully, a lot of companies are putting effort or putting finances into training up folks, continual educational training. That's important. Taking your time to actually do some training, up your knowledge, refresh your knowledge. Technology changes every single day. So thankfully, there are a lot of companies that actually put effort into making sure their employees are being trained so that they have people who know what's going on. Oh, it's only for young tech geniuses. Yeah. You don't have to be a hacking expert or the next Mr. Robot to be in cybersecurity. Yes, we love people who are passionate. We love people who are curious and wanting to pursue that. We love the hacker types, but you don't have to be in the top 0.1% to be a cybersecurity professional. If that's the only people that were professionals, we'd have millions of job openings in America. Don't think that you have to be there to be in cybersecurity. Start where you're at, continue to grow, continue to educate, but don't try and meet. No, I'm not in that 0.1%. Don't try and meet that level. You're not there. I'm not there. Even the people that we look up to, we respect, they're still learning and growing every single day. I've met some of the most humble people in the cybersecurity community. Some of those people that you see on YouTube or you hear in the talks or you read their papers, they're right there ready to just have a conversation. They're geeks, they're nerds, they're hackers. They're people who are outside the norm in society, and you're right. You fit along with them if that's the type of person you are. So don't think that you have to be a genius or you have to know everything. You don't. Get started where you're at and always be continuing to grow and learn. Right there, once I get the job, I'm done learning. Nope. If you get a job, you're going to have to start learning even more. always be teachable, always be learning, be humble. Technology changes, especially if you're in cybersecurity. There's always going to be new technologies, new things coming up. Even if you're in governance, policies change, frameworks change. Make sure that you're staying current with whatever is currently happening or what frameworks are potentially coming down so that you can prepare for those in the future. There are a number of misconceptions that I didn't get to. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go into everything. Also, my brain doesn't hold all of that information all at once. I think one thing that I want to speak into personally that it's not in the slide is most cybersecurity professionals deal with imposter syndrome. Oh, I'm not actually as good as they are. I'm not there. And we let that hold us back. We let that stop us from pursuing certain jobs. Yeah, Anonymous Anarchist, I'll touch on that in just a second. We have people who, myself, I'm like, oh, I'm not this, that, or something else, so I shouldn't even apply for that job. If you match 50% of the requirements for the job application and it looks like something that you're passionate about, apply. Don't think you have to match all of the requirements. A lot of those are made by HR. They have no clue what they're talking about. And then you talk to the person who's doing the interview and they're like, oh, that's not what this job actually is. You'll see certification requirements. You'll see experience requirements. They're putting what their dream ideal candidate is. They're not expecting to find someone who matches every one of those requirements, usually speaking. So don't feel like you're not good enough. I mean, if you have a knowledge gap, by all means, pursue learning and filling that gap, but don't sit there and let the imposter syndrome keep you from pursuing what you're passionate about, pursuing your dream, or even just trying to get a job. Cybersecurity is a great, I personally think cybersecurity is great and is a great way to build a career, but it's not for everyone. It can be very high stress. It's not always high stress, but it can be. You have to be passionate if you want to succeed in this field. If you're not passionate about protecting people, if you're not passionate about technology, and you're not passionate about policies or governance or risk analysis, find something else. Because what we do really is important. We're hearing about breaches and ransomware and this and that every single day. Companies are being attacked, and a lot of what we do really is there to protect people. I mean, we're trying to protect data, but the data oftentimes is attached to a person. We just had one of the credit agencies had a breach. That data, which is what they're after, affects real lives. So if you're not passionate about protecting people, you're not passionate about trying to defend or even break things, maybe look into a different field. Again, it's not an easy paycheck. A lot of people think, oh, cybersecurity is easy money. There are other ways to make money that are easy and they don't affect humans. They don't affect people if you fail your job. On the flip side, if you're passionate about it, even if you're not making great money, maybe you want to be a pen tester. Maybe that's been your dream your whole life. Get started in somewhere basic. Get a help desk job. Start out in the SOC. Yeah, you're offensive. You want to be red teamer? Okay, learn the blue team side. That will make you a better red teamer. If you learn how the defenders work, you can learn how to bypass those and you can learn what holes there are. And if you want to be on the defensive side, maybe learn some red team, some offensive tactics. If I know how the attacker works, I can be a better defender. The misconception that I'm trying to meet here is you don't have to fit into a specific mold. You don't have to be a jack of all trades, but open up your mind to potentials. You may actually find out that you love governance, you love risk assessment, you love the GRC stuff, or you love being a SOC analyst or a threat hunter, and you won't know until you actually try and start these things. So how to stand out? I would definitely recommend looking at the ISC2, ISC square, however you want to pronounce it. Absolutely. Cyber info, that's great. Yeah, I did want to touch on this. We're in the how to stand out. The ISC2 report on hiring, it came out recently for this year. It lists the top skills hiring managers are looking for. And right here for entry level, in America, they're looking for teamwork. They're looking for problem solving, analytical thinking, data security, cloud security. If you're trying to break into the field, you have to be willing to put in the work. but it's not just technical skills. You have to have those soft skills. It doesn't matter what position you're in, you're going to have to work with other people. If you just want to be that hacker who pwns everything and breaks everything, you have to communicate what you're doing to someone who probably doesn't understand it. If you can't communicate that, you're not going to be successful in the red teaming position, because they're not paying for you to break their system. They're paying for you to explain to them how to fix what you broke. Um, you don't have to know all the remediation steps, but you have to be able to explain what you did, the holes that you found, and give them a clear understanding of what's going on. Communication is probably the top skill. Um, a lot of us are introverts. A lot of us want to do things ourselves. Being independent is not a good way to be successful. Trying to do it yourself, be humble, be a team worker, and learn how you can actually help your team workers, your coworkers. One of the beautiful things about this field is the people you're meeting are very willing, for the most part, to share what their knowledge is. We're passionate about things. We get excited about things. We love to share. Oh, yeah, here's this. This is what I do. Oh, you're with people who actually do care and are passionate. And many times we're willing to communicate and share that knowledge. So be open, be humble, be teachable, and get a foundation, a core foundation, an IT foundation, if you will, before trying to get into cybersecurity. You don't need it, but the reality is if you're applying for a job and you don't have a degree or you don't have experience in IT, there's a good chance the people you're competing with do have that degree. They do have that experience. Um, Maybe they don't have that certification, but they've got 4 years of experience. That 4 years of experience is going to put them up another step over that certification or that degree that you do have. So don't be prideful. Don't be saying, oh, I'm only going to do pen testing. If you do that, you're not going to be successful. You're probably not going to get a job. I am generalizing here, but most people are looking for someone who understands the core technology, the core systems, or the business processes, the workflows that are going on for defending or attacking. Yeah, you may understand how to perform the SQL injection, but if you don't realize that this work's done by someone who has access to these other things, you could completely miss out on a vector because you're focused on the technical and not learning the business needs of the business applications. Um, I'm not going to go into this just for the sake of time. I do want to say a few things for standing out. One, be passionate, volunteer, get connected. We have B-Sides Orlando coming up here in a few weeks. We still need volunteers for certain things, I believe. I could be wrong. I'm not in charge of that, but get connected, get volunteering at a local conference. If you're in the Orlando area, come be part of B-Sides Orlando. Wherever you're at, see where you can get connected. Maybe there are other conferences or local meetups that you can go to. You have professional meetups, you have social meetups. We have 4 or 5 that I know of in the Orlando area where you can get involved. You can give a talk on something you're passionate about. Maybe you're passionate about OSINT. Give a talk on OSINT. That's the first talk I gave in this area. Find a way to give back to the community. It's most of the things that we have are run by volunteers, run by people who are just passionate about it. They're not making a bunch of money. So when we ask for volunteers, we're not just hoarding the money and keeping it for ourselves. Most of the staff, if not all of the staff, are completely volunteer or paying out of their own pocket to make these things happen. It really is a community of passion. And when you volunteer, you show up, you build connections with those people. You're growing a community. And if you're trying to get into the field, you have people who have seen you for the last 2 years volunteering. You've connected with them, and then you apply for their job, a job at their company, and they say, oh, I know that person. You've built a connection, and it gives you that human connection. We're talking about a field that's very technical, but you have a lot of human connection that you need. Networking is the number one thing that you should do. Use LinkedIn, use Discord, use different social media, get out in person, connect with the people around you, the people in your field. If you're passionate about reverse engineering, find reverse engineers, talk to them, learn from them, ask them questions, share what you find. If you're passionate about getting in threat hunting, find people who do that and get connected with them. Don't just leech and say, oh, give me, give me, give me, but offer a way to help them back or something that you found. Maybe you found something, and who cares if they know or not? Share what you found. It's about that human connection. You can do CTS, which are games, if you will, of challenges where you have different technical challenges. CTFs are a great way. I know people who won a CTF and they got a job because they won that CTF. Doing well in CTFs is a great way for someone who doesn't have a lot of experience to show that they're passionate, show that they have skills, and they're able to pursue something without being forced. Um, do labs, build your home lab. You don't have to have a lot of money, you don't have to have a lot of hardware. VMware Workstation Pro is free for everyone. You have GNS3, which is a network simulator. There's a lot of software ways that you can build a lab and start testing it. There are vulnerable VMs out there that you can run on your computer and you can start attacking it. There are things that you can start defending. You have things like Hack the Box and Try Hack Me and Blue Team Labs. The list keeps going on. There are these or these cloud platforms that you can go to and you can learn skills. You can try different things. And if you succeed, if you do well in those, I know people who got jobs because they were doing well on Hack the Box. You have to be passionate. You have to be willing to work, even if you're not getting paid for it. The reality is, if you're going to be successful, a lot of times you have to put in the effort. If not most times, you have to put in the effort. But that old adage of it's not what you know, it's who you know really is true. It may sound like I'm contradicting myself, but it goes back to if you're doing Hack the Box, I met people because I was pursuing Hack the Box and we became friends and we met at DEF CON this year. And it was that shared thing of, oh, we're doing Hack the Box. Let's talk, let's get connected. And it does build community. And you never know, maybe 5 years down the road, you're getting a job with that person or you're hiring that person. Network, network, network. Learn things, practice skills, build a lab. But ultimately, the best thing you can do is network. I know we're getting short on time, so I do want to give time for questions and answers. So I don't know how that works, but before that, I do want to say thank you to many of these people. The list that I have here is just the ones that I was able to find very quickly as I was putting the slides together. There are so many more people that's not on this list, but I just want to say thank you to everyone who gave me input, who shared their frustrations with me, who shared their excitement and their celebrations with me. I couldn't be here if it wasn't for so many of you. So thank you for that. And even thank you for B-Sides Orlando for giving me this opportunity and all the others who've given me opportunities to pour back myself. Oh, yes, sorry. Things changing quickly. Yeah, so if you look at CVEs, they come out. CVEs are common vulnerabilities. They pop out pretty frequently. I remember SSL used to be the de facto standard for everything. Everyone used SSL. It was your golden standard for web encryption. A vulnerability came out, and overnight, SSL was no longer secure. It was no longer safe. You had to switch to TLS because what had previously been the de facto standard was no longer secure at all. AI, the fact that if you look at most, I think I saw recently statistics, 12% of cybersecurity job postings mention AI in them. In a matter of a few months or a few years even, you've gone from everyone's wanting you to do this one thing. Now you need to learn how to use AI, be able to use engineering prompting. That's a more common one. I don't believe AI is going to take our jobs. I believe you can use it as a tool, but those are a couple examples. I hope that helps a little bit. Yes, you can get your tickets now at B-Sides Orlando. We also have workshops on Thursday or on Friday before the conference, so make sure you're checking that out. Are there any other questions? Well, while we're waiting for questions, I mentioned a few resources. You have CyberSeek. It's a great website for looking for data on what's the job market like currently, what positions are out there, what's being filled. You have the ISC2 or ISC squared research that just came out recently with the hiring thing. There are a lot of resources out there. Take advantage of those. There's a great roadmap for certifications to explain what different certifications match which fields. Take advantage of those things. Look for what you can because there's a lot out there. Do you have any recommendations for young individuals? Yeah, I would recommend personally Hack the Box Academy, especially if you're a student and have a student email. You can sign up for $8 a month, and they'll take you from completely inexperienced all the way to being able to hack or defend a system. TryHackMe also has an academy. There are a number of great cyber ranges out there that you can learn from. Personally, Hack the Box is my favorite. I think that they put out top-notch quality resources. But if you don't know anything about cybersecurity, you're interested, you can get in there for $8. That's not a lot of money. You can see, is this something that I'm actually interested in? Maybe you watched Mr. Robot and you think, oh, hacking is what I want to do. Go to Hack the Box, try some of their modules, and see, do you actually enjoy this or not? Go through their report writing modules. See, is this something you actually like? Um, I want to shout out CyberInfo. I've seen them pop up a few times. That's a great Discord server that has a lot of people who are passionate and would love to answer your questions. So definitely check out the different Discord communities. I can't hear you, Edna. I see you talking.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
How's this? Okay, good. Yeah, so thank you so much for a great presentation. This was amazing. I think people attending here got a lot out of it. Um, and I wanted to tell everybody, make sure that you're following B-Sides Orlando on whatever platform you're on, Twitter, Blue Sky, Mastodon, LinkedIn. We're going to have our next event coming up in a week. So this is a series. It's Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Our next one is going to be on imposter syndrome in cyber, as well as we have a presentation on AI for cybersecurity job hunting. So those two talks are going to be next week, and then the following week we're going to have a talk on journey from marine career to into cyber. So really interesting talks coming up. They're free. They're available to you online. They'll be streamed just like this one. Um, thank you again, Levi. We're going to be at B-Sides Orlando on September 27th um, for the conference and September 26th for the workshops. Workshops are on sale right now, and they are priced between $12 to $100. You can also come find us in the Career Village at B-Sides on Saturday, September 27th. We're going to have resume reviews, mock interviews, professional headshots. If you're looking for a job, you definitely should come stop by and see us. There's going to be a lot for you. If you are an employer or you work for somebody and you want us to post any job openings, send your job openings to the email address careervillage@bsidesorlando.org, and we will post those on our job board. Um, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Noel and Spike in the background working the AV here for us tonight, making this possible for us to put out. We have a hacker bake sale going on right now. There's amazing things that you can bid on. We've got a Hacker Boy badge. We've got Ironwood Cyber badge. I will tell you right now, it's I think I saw it at like $270, but that sold for on eBay for $750. So like the stuff that you can get in the Hacker Bake Sale, it's quite the deal. There's a ticket for DEF CON Orlando. There's a Florida Man badge. There is a signed book by Bruce Snyder, as well as Frack Magazine. So definitely go check it out. There's some good deals in there. We hope to see you at B-Sides Orlando. If you're not local, we hope to see you at the next virtual events that we have, helping you prepare for your career in cybersecurity. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Have
Thank
a good
you.
night. Thank you.